Welcome to another prediction video from John Esser Sports Channel. Please do like and subscribe as we go into League One. Predictions for game week 5. Yeah, we're already on 5, guys. We start with Luton Town versus Cardiff. Wow, we remember this one. It's his last year's, of course. Of course, Luton Town started with a 1-0 win at home to Wimbledon. Wimbledon parked the bus, and I tell you what, how late do you want? And it was a Wimbledon own goal that gave Luton the win there. Not very impressive there. They hammered the area quite significantly. 85th minute own goal there. But with 65% possession, Luton Town only managed 1 on target in the entire game. If you watch the game, they were constantly hammering that back third. And for me, they were getting all the way up to the byline and still they only got 1 on target. It's as if they were a little bit reticent to just let go and kick the ball or shoot in the vague direction. For me, that was something that just sung a little few alarm bells for me with this Luton Town in the first game. Then it was a win away at Peterborough, 2-0, and people are thinking this side actually may be just doing what they need to do to win. I have heard that a couple of times. Then it was a Coventry 1-0 away defeat in the Carabao Cup, then a 2-1 away defeat to Bradford, but Bradford's defence is a lot stronger than Wimbledon's, and I think that's the best defence in the league so far. But it did let in a goal here, but we have to say that this Luton side has got the clinical ability up front. It just doesn't seem to be getting it out and onto the pitch. Even here, only 3 shots on target and only 9 shots in the entire game on target, with 62 at target with 62% possession, which shows that they are getting in there, but they were just not choosing to shoot. Last time out, Wigan Athletic 1-0 home win. 9 minutes by Saville there, but then 66% possession for Luton Town. 4 shots on target. This is getting a little bit better, but and with 13 shots in total, now the Luton side seem to be just about coming around. This side will start to shoot and will start to score, and I believe they will fire straight up that league. However, we do look at the 34% that Wigan got, because 34% possession, 10 shots, 3 on target, none in the net. They really could have drawn that game quite easy, that Wigan side, had they just had a little bit more skill. But they did try, and that's what's getting me. The fact that they actually tried, they could have done it, just fell a little bit short on the day. I think that possibly was a little bit of a lucky win there for Luton Town. Please do like, subscribe, comment down below what you think of that game. And then we go to Cardiff and we go to Peterborough, 2-1 home win, Port Vale 0-0 away draw, a Swindon Town 2-1 home win in the Cup, and then a Rotherham United 3-0 home win for Cardiff that could have been 4 or 5. That side really was very, very good. Certainly the second half. In the first half it was okay, a good top half side in the first half. In the second half, that was a top 6 performance. We look at the Wimbledon game, the Wimbledon 0, Cardiff 1, 90 plus 2 minutes that Cardiff waited on this one. 67% possession, 16 shots, but only 1 of them on target. But remember, the Luton game, Wimbledon can park the bus against these sides coming down, and they jolly well did, and they tried it again, and once again they get to the 90 85 minutes against Luton, 90 plus 2 against Cardiff. It just so nearly worked in both cases, didn't it? And that's where we're really coming from. Both of these teams seem to be stuck really with a similar sort of problem here. in that we need more shots on target. Although Cardiff, it's running for them, isn't it? 3 wins, 1 draw, and 10 points. Luton Town, 3 wins. 3 wins, 1 defeat, 9 points. So, what are you all saying? 1-0, 1-1, 1-0, 2-1, and 1-0. So most of us sort of like siding with Luton Town here, or a draw. I don't know, because I think that these two sides can almost cancel each other out. I can't see one actually doing better than the other. They will want to shoot, and I think that the defences are quite similar in stature and quality. I'm going to go with Luton Town 1 and Cardiff 1. And we go to my team, which is, of course, Rotherham United. Rotherham United versus Wigan next. Now, Rotherham United started very, very average, I think, with that Stevenage. No, it wasn't with the Stevenage. No, it was the. Make sure I get this right for you. It was a Port Vale one, wasn't it? Yeah, Port Vale 2-1 win at home, of course. I've got them all down here trying to work out which one it is. The 2-1 win at home to Port Vale. Of course, we played one less, so the list is slightly skewed. That was a good game. That was actually a good game. I did enjoy it, and we had all our strikers at that point, so we were really, really good. That's probably where everything went pear-shaped, and we've had several hamstring injuries, especially amongst the strikers, and we're left with just Huggle. So it's been a bit of a mishmash since then. We had a poor game against Stevenage away, 1-0 defeat, probably could have been more. Salford City 0-0 in the Carabao Cup away from home, and then Cardiff City we lost 3-0 away from home, and that, believe you me, could have been a lot more. Let's look at that Cardiff City game for Rotherham stats at least. Rotherham 25% possession, 1 shot, 1 on target, none in the net, and believe me, 75% possession. Cardiff 14 shots, 6 on target. That does actually suggest that our defence is actually not too bad. With that sort of percentage play, possession, you would expect them to be constantly hammering it and probably up to the sort of 20-25 shots. Only 14, which, although a lot, is actually not a lot for that amount of play that we gave Cardiff. Wigan Athletic, we have to get the right ones here. Northampton Town 3-1 home win. Leyton Orient 2-1 away defeat, and then a win 1-0 at home in the Cup. Peterborough 2-0 home win, and last time out a 1-0 a really, really interesting game. This a 1-0 away defeat to Luton Town. Now Wigan, I thought at the beginning of the season would be quite a strong side here. It looks a strong side. This game, actually 66% possession to Luton, but with the 34% play, Wigan actually managed to get 10 shots, which is pretty impressive. Only 3 on target, but and that's probably why they lost the game 1-0. But this team could, like I said in the last prediction, they could have equalised it. I think they had the ability to get a draw out of that game, but I think Luton will be going out feeling a little bit lucky in that one. So what will happen here, because obviously Rotherham have just recruited a new striker, and he's actually the top scorer in the Premier League under-19s. So let's see if he can do it in League One. I'm really excited to see this guy playing, I must admit. You're saying 1-1, 0-2, 0-0, and 1-1. Well, I'm going to surprise everybody, because I'm going to go for Rotherham United 2, Wigan 1, and I'm going to play my joker on my own team. And before you say I am a joker, please do like and subscribe. Please do comment down below what your thoughts are. Wimbledon versus Barnsley next. Then Wimbledon, aren't they doing a lot better than what we thought? Wimbledon at the minute are 2 wins and 2 defeats. You know, they're actually doing not too bad. We certainly didn't think they'd be doing this that sort of standard of football. And Barnsley, you know, 3 wins, 1 draw, and you can see that Barnsley are starting to get some form of game plan that they're actually following. And now it seems to be a good game plan all the way through the game instead of in certain parts, like we constantly said last season. And I'm not going to say again. So we go to their first game, Wimbledon. Obviously, extremely unlucky to get that late, to concede an own goal and lose 1-0 away to Luton Town in the first game. 2-1 at home Lincoln City win, and that was showing that they actually could shoot. You see, in the first game they just didn't shoot at all on goal. They were just fully defensive. In the Lincoln City game, I was worried that lack of shooting would come and bite them in the butt, but apparently it didn't, and they proved they could shoot, and on target. 2-0 win. Gillingham 1-1 Carabao Cup draw away, and then a Reading 2-1 win away from home. Now that was another one where I think that the Reading side certainly showed that actually, you know, we can shoot. 39% possession and 8 shots. Not great, but it's certainly not a bottom 6 standard. 2 of those on target, 2 of them in the net. Now that's going to be critical, I think, as they go forward, isn't it? And then Wimbledon last time out, Cardiff City, 1-0 defeat at home, 90 plus 2 minutes. Poor old Wimbledon, 33% possession, constantly aback, thinking this is an ex-championship side, let's park the bus at home. Not quite sure it was a good idea. However, it did work until 90 plus 2 minutes when Cardiff scored the winner. 2 shots on target for Wimbledon, 1 on target for Cardiff and 1 in the net. So how unlucky can you be? Against a Barnsley side. Now the Barnsley side started relatively good. 3-1 win away at Plymouth. And that side was looking like, hey, this is going to be a breeze, League One, isn't it? And then they won 3-2 at home to Burton. Started to see a few rocky moments in the back end there. That just wasn't a very good defensive display. It was a great forward display, but that defence just seemed to be a little bit too high. Fleetwood 2 at home, and then a Bolton 1-1 home draw sort of started to show that they perhaps were just getting a little bit less confident, I think. Peterborough 1-0 away. Now, this is an important game because Peterborough have been playing quite poorly. Barnsley attacked this really, really strongly. And once again, 56% possession, 15 shots, 5 on target, 1 in the net. You know, this could have been an awful lot more had they been a little bit more clinical with their shots. I think that if Barnsley want to be in the top 6, they're certainly going to have games like this where perhaps 1 or 2 more of those 15 shots are actually on target. But it's nice. It's a nice game to watch, and it's a really good flowing game. And I really enjoy watching Barnsley, which is really weird, but I do. It's been a great fun to watch them. What are you all saying? 0-0, 0-1, 1-2, and 0-2. I can't see this being a draw. Can I see Wimbledon putting up the bus at the back? They may very well do. That's what the person who said 0-0 thought they would do. They'd put up the bus, and this time it would work. I don't think they can afford to do that. They need to be getting those wins occasionally, and I think that they might just try to mix this with a little bit of attack. And so I can't see the 0-0, but I might see them score. I might see them scoring. They have actually been providing some good attacking prowess during those certainly those 2 wins. I'm going to go for a rather boring 2-1. I'm going to go for Wimbledon 1, Barnsley 2, and we'll move on. So let's go Bolton versus Lincoln City. Now, Bolton, I really thought would fly this season. I really did think they'd do well. But I also thought Lincoln City would fly as well. You would ask me this before the season started, I'd have been saying, yeah, I think that this is going to be a nailed-on draw. Absolutely. But Bolton versus Lincoln, a little bit different now, isn't it? I think that we got Lincoln City in 7th, 3 wins and 1 defeat. Bolton Wanderers, 1 win, 2 draws and 1 defeat. And they just seem to be getting a little bit stuck. Let's see how they've been doing, shall we? Stockport County 2-0 defeat away. Stockport County started strong, and to be honest, they've carried on being strong. Plymouth Argyle 2-0 win at home, and you're thinking, oh, hang on, perhaps they've managed to improve and change this, and it's working. But then all of a sudden, the rearguard action seemed to fall apart, and it was a 3-3 home draw to Sheffield Wednesday, of course, losing on penalties there. Barnsley 1-1. Away draw, and now I'm thinking this is a bit odd because they can score, and Barnsley can score, and I thought that 1-1 there is not the most probable of scores. Reading 1-1 at home, and we're starting to see a side that at home used to be really, really good at getting those shots off. Playing from the back and getting up. 65% possession for Bolton, 21 shots but only 4 on target. Let's see about going 1 game further forward to the Barnsley game. Let's just see, because Barnsley obviously had Yoganathan sent off on 52 minutes, and Bolton then equalised on 86. But let's just see how that game panned out as far as shots. See, 56% possession for Bolton, 17 shots and 7 on target, but only 1 in the net. Yeah, they do actually seem to be getting forward. They do actually seem to be getting in that final third. It's almost insane how they're not winning more games. I just can't believe that they're not winning more. They're shooting, they're getting up there, they're playing from the back, they're getting the ball in, they're getting the ball on target even, but they're not winning. How are they not winning more games? You know, it's absolutely insane. One win. Lincoln City started with with a 2-0 home win to Reading, a 2-0 away defeat to Wimbledon. And now we're thinking, this is a bit topsy-turvy. Which team's going to turn up? 3-1 away win to Harrogate Town. 3-2 home win to Plymouth Argyle. And then a 1-0 win against, just popping in too quickly there, against away to Northampton. Look at the Plymouth game, and Lincoln City, they won this one easily, really, 3-2. I think it was a really exciting game. Neither team really were way above the other one, but I think that Lincoln did deserve the 3-2 win. 66% possession to Plymouth, 16 shots but only 4 on target, whereas Lincoln City had 34% play, but they had 14 shots from that, and they had 8 of them on target and 3 in the net. This is why I think that although Plymouth had the ball more often, I don't think that they were really in control of the game when Lincoln City had the ball as much as what they were when they had the ball. Lincoln City were really, really strong when they had their ball and made sure they got up the other end and had a shot, whereas Plymouth just sat back a little bit too much. And that's why I say that I believe Lincoln City deserved that, and I think they were just a slightly stronger side, at least when they were going forward. Lincoln City then with the Northampton game, a 1-0 win there, 20 minutes in for Draper. And again, 39% possession to Lincoln City, 3 shots, 1 on target, 1 in the net. This Northampton side can actually play some damn good defensive football, which we'll have to think about for later. So what are you thinking? 1-0, it's Bolton Lincoln, remember, 1-0, 2-2, 2-1, 2-0. This Bolton side can go forward and shoot, but this Lincoln side can take them on the break. So it's a play from the backside with lots of shots, and it's a side that can make the most of not having the ball and make an awful lot of shots out of almost nothing. This, I think, could be a very high-scoring game. 1-0, 2-2, 2-1, 2-0. I'm going to go with a Desmond. I'm going to go with Bolton 2, Lincoln 2, and we'll move on. Huddersfield versus Stevenage next, and Huddersfield we really expected to be flying, and they've just shown a little bit too much of an eagerness, I think, to get forward. That back line is being just caught out a couple of times, and we'll go through that now. We start with Orient 3-0 home win, and realistically they actually had less possession in that game. In the first half, I think it was like 66% possession to Leyton Orient. They came back in the second half, Huddersfield, and managed to win this one 3-0, but realistically Orient be kicking themselves not to score, let alone get a point out of it. Reading away win 2-0, and everything starts to look like it's really going well. I think at the Leicester City 2-2 home draw there in the cup started to show a few this defence up for just running a little bit too high up the pitch, and then Blackpool 3-2 away defeat really did show the fact that these two attacking sides, which one was going to be the most hit by a poor defence, because both of them lacked the defensive aptitude, because they were both high up the pitch, both trying to attack each other. Huddersfield 77% possession, 17 shots, 3 on target though, so they were just firing again, but they allowed Blackpool, who have got a really good attack. They were quite high, Blackpool, 23% possession, but they got to 8 shots, 4 on target, from just 23% possession. So they were actually quite good for 23%. I think that 703 passes as well. It's one of the highest totals I've ever seen. Huddersfield keeping the ball, managing to get it up there, but they lost the game. And then you get a win at home to Doncaster Rovers, and that 2-0 win was a decent win for them. We have to look at the stats. It'll pull it up for me, because I think the Doncaster stats will be important. 50% possession here, 11 shots to Huddersfield, 12 to Doncaster, 7 shots on target for Huddersfield, 3 shots on target for Doncaster. It was just who was more clinical, wasn't it? And Huddersfield took the day there. But you see, Doncaster managing to get even number of shots off to Huddersfield at Huddersfield was, to me, still a little bit worrying for how far up Huddersfield are playing. Stevenage, Blackpool win 3-2 away, and then a Rotherham win at home 1-0. That could have been more than that. 3-1 defeat in the cup, but they've bolstered their team, haven't they, Charlton? And then they come back to the league, 2-0 home win against Northampton, and a 2-1 win last time out against Port Vale. Stevenage here really are showing that they've got 1 or 2 players that are really, really good. 50-50 again in possession, 11 shots to Stevenage, 15 to Port Vale. They are the home side, crowd getting behind them. They only had 3 shots on target, Stevenage, but 2 of them went in the net. I think it was just the run of play. I think they'll be thinking themselves lucky here not to have only drawn it to get the win. Was something else. What are you thinking then? Huddersfield Stevenage 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 1-1, 1-0. I think that this will be a Huddersfield win. I think Stevenage have had a little bit of a run of the green here. And they have got one or two good players, and the Stevenage fans themselves say we've recruited excellently. We've got one or two really key players. But I think a side like Huddersfield that has lots of key players, lots of good players, will be able to just about scrape this one. I think I'm going to go for a Huddersfield 2, Stevenage 1, and we'll go on to the Mansfield Orient game. And this one is causing quite a lot of confusion here, because Mansfield have been good. We've seen the good and the bad and the ugly with Mansfield. Mansfield at home, they started with an away defeat 2-1 to Burton, but they really could have equalised there, I think, but just didn't manage to do it in the end. A Doncaster 2-1 home defeat, and both were bitterly disappointing apparently by Roy, our man at the game from Mansfield. From his point of view, Chesterfield away win 2-0, and we start seeing a little bit more ability to shoot and a little bit better in defence, I must admit. Exeter 2-1 away win, and then a Blackpool 2-0 home win. Now that Blackpool game for me is almost like a little bit of a turning point, because 49% possession to Mansfield, 16 shots, 6 on target, 2 in the net. They'll be happy with that. And you've got to remember, this Blackpool side can shoot, they can score. Okay, their defence can be a little bit crumbly, but they reduced Blackpool to just 1 shot on target. Leyton Orient then coming to Mansfield just, I think, at the point where Mansfield are doing well. Leyton Orient started with like that Huddersfield defeat 3-0, but they had about 66% possession in the first half. I think overall it ended up at 56. They should have come away with a draw at least there, but they had lost 3-0. Wigan 2-0 home win. Wycombe 1-0 away at home defeat in the Carabao Cup. And then Stockport County have been playing really well. 2-2 home draw. And then Plymouth last time out for Orient, 1-0 away win. Now this Orient side at Plymouth, 48% possession. And it was an extremely even game. This really could have been a draw, and probably should have been a draw. You know, either team were good in different parts of this game. The passing was pretty average. The teams were pretty average to me, but yeah, I mean, it just says 5 shots each on target, and it was a 1-0 win to Orient. That's all you can say. So an average sort of League One mid-table gameplay from Orient. What are you all saying? 2-1 to Mansfield, 2-1 to Orient, 2-1 to Orient, 2-1 to Orient. I really can't see Orient doing this, because all their gameplay so far to me has been quite average, whereas Mansfield's has been improving. And Roy will be happy that I'm going to say Mansfield 2, Leyton Orient 1. I will say I think that they may score 2-0 or 2-1, I think. And we'll go to Northampton Town versus Exeter for the next one. Northampton Town, who we all expected to be right in the bottom, and I tell you what, their standard of play is at the minute is quite hopeless. No real change in the summer. Started off, let's see what the scores are for this year. Wigan 3-1 away defeat. Bradford 0-0 home draw. You see, this back line actually is reasonably good. Southampton 1-0 home defeat. Again, the back line is reasonably good, isn't it? Stevenage away defeat 2-0, and then a home defeat. Lincoln City 1-0, and Lincoln can shoot, remember. So it's impressive because they actually reduced Lincoln City to 39% possession, 3 shots and only 1 on target, which went in the net. Northampton 61% possession, 10 shots, 3 on target, none in the net. They'll probably be disappointed they didn't get a draw there. But things don't go for you. And when you're at the bottom of the table, or near the bottom of the table, 22nd position, things don't go for you. Well, we know that. So we got they're playing Exeter, and Exeter started with a 1-0 away defeat to Doncaster, but they've been playing well. Then they played Blackpool, 4-1 home win. Where did it come from? Because well, it came from the fact that Blackpool can be a little bit bad at the back when they're pushing so high up. They do tend to leave the back open, and that's what Northampton managed to get through. Cheltenham 2-0 away defeat in the Cup. Mansfield 2-1 home defeat, and then last time out Wycombe Wanderers an away win. All of a sudden, can Exeter prove us wrong here? Exeter here only got 37% possession, only 1 shot on target and 1 in the net. This was a team taking Wycombe on the break and managing to do it. 83 minutes own goal purely by getting up there, giving them a bit of pressure and making a little bit of a panic in the box. And this is what Exeter appear to have done in this one. And they've done it really well. 19 shots to Wycombe, and yet 8 shots on target. Surely to God you're going to get 2 of those in the net. No, 0 in the net. So the clinical ability of that Wycombe side seems to be a little bit shoddy. Northampton, Exeter 0-2, 1-1, 1-1, 0-0. Now both of these sides do seem to be pretty shoddy up front, and both Northampton good in defence though. I think Northampton's defence is a little bit more impressive for me, but then the Exeter attack can be an awful lot better. It could cancel each other out, and I think it will. Northampton 1, Exeter 1. Peterborough, Bradford next, and this is not the time to be playing Bradford City. Bradford City's defence is, I believe, the best in the league. Peterborough, what's happened? We haven't won one. We haven't got a point yet. We haven't even got a draw. All defeats so far. We start with Cardiff, away defeat 2-1. Luton Town, a home defeat 2-0. Accrington Stanley 2-1 away defeat in the Cup. Wigan Athletic away 2-0 defeat. Barnsley 1-0 defeat at home. And you just quickly look at that. We don't have too much time. Peterborough, we're looking at 44% possession, 7 shots, 1 on target, none in the net. They allowed Barnsley to have more possession, the better part of the passing. Their passing wasn't actually too bad, and they controlled the ball pretty well at Peterborough, but 15 shots they allowed Barnsley, allowing them through that back a little bit too quick, or inside of the goal far too often. However, Bradford won't be allowing Peterborough that option. Wycombe 2-1 home win. Northampton 0-0 away draw. That's interesting because both teams there played a really good defensive lineup. I said Northampton have a good defence, or can have a good defence. Bradford have the best defence, and it was just a fight of 2 defences, 0-0. Blackburn away win 2-1, and then a Luton Town 2-1 home win, and a Stockport County 2-1 away win. And actually, this side just seems to be able to get what it needs to win. And this is what I'm getting from this Bradford side. Once they're ahead, once they've got there, they just seem to be able to put up the block and say, that's it, we'll rely on this brilliant defence, and it works. Peterborough versus Bradford, what are you saying? 1-2, 1-2, 0-1, 0-3. I think that Peterborough at some point are going to get an absolute hammering, and I'm going to go for Peterborough 0, Bradford 4. And we go to Plymouth versus Blackpool next. Remember that I'm in the right league. Plymouth versus Blackpool. Plymouth, how have they been doing? Absolutely awful is the answer to that. No points so far in the league. A home defeat to Barnsley 3-1, an away defeat to Bolton 2-1, a 3-2 win in the Carabao Cup, but they say that's the way. The Championship is more open play. You don't get the space in League One, and that's what's providing a problem for Plymouth, which is strange because 3 seasons ago they were in League One. Lincoln City 3-2 away defeat, and then last time out a Leyton Orient home 1-0 defeat in 63 minutes by Koroma, and we can see a Plymouth side here that look, they're getting shots off. 52% possession against Leyton Orient, 12 shots, 5 on target, none in the net. They're just not being clinical up front, and the number of times I've thought they're going to score, and they just fluff it or go high. I mean, with the 3-2 defeat, with Waidu getting sent off, Waidu is really is causing quite a bit of a problem with that Plymouth side. Not too good a purchase, I'm afraid. 66% possession against Lincoln City, 16 shots, 4 on target, 2 in the net. We've got to get more on target and good shots, actually quality shots. Don't seem to be seeing it from this Plymouth side. Don't seem to be seeing it at all. Will it improve? I think it will, but it's just going to take a little bit longer than what they were hoping for. They're going to have to get used to this not having space to play football, because that's clearly what's happening with that 3-2 win against a Championship side there. So a little bit worried that they're still trying to play Championship football in League One. They're playing a Blackpool side that can be really strong up front. Remember the 3-2 win there at home to Huddersfield, but that back line can be quite disastrous. Stevenage 3-2 home defeat, Exeter 4-1 away defeat, Port Vale 1-0 at home defeat, followed by a 3-2 home win against Huddersfield. Remember, good attacking but not very good defensive because they're pushing up too far. Mansfield away defeat 2-1, and we're starting to see a Blackpool side that's just waning a little bit at that back end, and is it causing some concerns mentally? Is it giving them that we're going to let in, we need to score more because we're just not very good in defence? Will he plug the gap in the defence? No, he's too good a manager not to. He will plug that, and I think he'll plug it by the end of the window. We're talking Blackpool. So Mansfield 2, Blackpool 0, 51% possession, 6 shots, only 1 on target for Blackpool. That shows how good Mansfield were at stopping this bloody good attack from Blackpool, from even getting sight of the goal. They did a really good job, which is why I've said that for 2-1 win for Mansfield. But what does it prove here? 3-1 to Plymouth, 3-1, 2-1, 2-1, 1-1. I can see Plymouth possibly getting their first 3 points here. However, Blackpool, I'm certain that they'll be utilising that excellent front line. I think that they will score. It might even be a 2-2 draw. This may be a 2-2, Desmond 2-2. I'm going to go with Plymouth 2, Blackpool 1. We will go for a Plymouth win. I think that this could be a draw, could be a Desmond, but I think we'll go with a Plymouth win there. And then we go on to Vale versus Donny. So Port Vale versus Doncaster Rovers. And this is going to be the League Two game, isn't it? Rotherham, for Port Vale, Rotherham 2-1 defeat. They played absolutely spankingly good in the second half. Awful in the first half. Probably deserved a draw. Cardiff City draw 0-0. At home, a Blackpool away win 1-0, and that does prove that Port Vale's defence can be really good. Its attack can be good as well, though. Burton Albion away 0-0, and a Stevenage Borough 2-1 home defeat. So what's going wrong at Port Vale? They can play brilliantly, and then the next game they can play dismal. Port Vale really 51% possession at home to Stevenage, 15 shots, 6 on target, 1 in the net. Just not quite clicking, just not. Look, they deserved a draw here. 11 shots to Stevenage, 3 on target, 2 in the net. They were just more clinical on the day. I think these two sides were actually quite even, and Port Vale should be actually quite happy that showed a little bit of improvement there for me, even if they lost. Doncaster Rovers, though, Exeter win 1-0. Mansfield win 2-1, all away from home. But that was an appalling game, apparently, by our friend Roy. Borough 4-0 away win. Where did that come from? Because Borough have been doing really well. And then Wycombe 1-1 at home. And then Huddersfield 2-0 defeat away from home. Doncaster have been playing really good, and they've been playing some solid football. And even in this 2-1 defeat, 2-0 defeat, Doncaster kept pushing forward. It looked like they might get a goal. It looked like they were constantly. There were parts in that game where Doncaster were just well on top, and Huddersfield just took them on the break and managed to win this one. Doncaster constantly pressing until later on in the second half, where Huddersfield just turned the screw, and that's when they scored 78 and 84 minutes. It was when Huddersfield turned that game round in the second half of the second half. Doncaster 12 shots, 3 on target, none in the net. Yeah, they'll feel themselves unlucky they didn't get a draw there, absolutely. And again, we're seeing the same thing, unlucky that they didn't get all 3 points, and you're thinking, but both sides have done this during this season so far, so this is going to be a really interesting one. I think both of these teams can score. I think both of these teams, if they play well, can do well. Port Vale certainly can, but they're more up and down than Doncaster Rovers. What are you thinking? 3-3, 2-3, 1-1, 2-2. I'm going to go with Port Vale 1, Doncaster Rovers 3. I'm going to keep the faith with Doncaster. I think Vale are too up and down for me. I think that they will get this, and I think he will start to get this a little bit more level and consistent, but not yet. Stockport doing really well. Burton actually doing a lot better than what we thought, aren't they? They really are. Stockport County, Bolton Wanderers 2-0 win at home, 2-1 away win at Wycombe, 3-1 home win at home to Crewe in the Cup, and then a Desmond 2-2 away at Leyton Orient. And then against that really good defence, they actually scored. Bradford City, they lost 2-1 at home. Like I said, that they were playing a really good defence, and let's have a look at the stats for this Stockport side. 66% possession, 19 shots though, but 8 on target. This Bradford City defence didn't do quite as well. They did hang back a little bit though, Bradford, because of the 34% possession. They managed to get on the break 10 shots, 3 of them on target, 2 in the net. They were just a little bit more clinical. It wasn't about the defence for Bradford in this particular game. That Bradford defence did actually let them see sight a goal for probably the first game so far. So that's possibly something that we need to start thinking about. Is this going to be a recurring thing for Bradford? Does that brilliant defence start to crumble? Please do like and subscribe. Tell me down below. So that's the Bradford side. There. We're sticking with that was the Stockport side we were looking through. Finishing with Bradford defeat at home 2-1. Burton Albion, let's have a look. That's one game less. So Mansfield Town home win. Barnsley 3-2 away. 3-2 away defeat, and really, Barnsley came back from there, and they really did punish them, didn't they, for finishing weak. Port Vale 0-0 at home, and then Tranmere away 1-1. This was in the Carabao. This was in the Cup. It says Carabao on here, but I'm not sure if it is. Burton Albion 37%, 6 shots, 2 on target. You know, they should be doing better against a Tranmere Rovers side than that. They let Tranmere run the game. In the league, the last league game, Port Vale 0-0, and George Byers got sent off for Port Vale on 15 minutes. So you know, they again against 10 men. Burton Albion 62% possession, 14 shots, 4 on target. They reduced Port Vale to just 1 shot on target. They still couldn't get a ball in the net. This Burton side has been playing poorly. This Stockport side is playing really good. What are you saying? 1-0, 3-1, 2-1, 2-1, and 2-0. I'm going to go with Stockport 3, Burton 1. I think they might be able to catch them on the break and get a goal. Possibly. We'll go with the last game now. Wycombe Wanderers versus Reading. Wycombe, of course, let's have a quick look at the table. Reading and Wycombe in 20th position on 1 point. Reading on 1 point with in 21st. Of course, Bolton is Reading's first point, and that was midweek against Bolton. So Wycombe Wanderers, Bradford City 2-1 away defeat. Stockport County 2-1 home defeat, but they're playing good sides that started really well. Leyton Orient 1-0 away win, and now in the Carabao Cup, could they change it? Could they improve here by playing weaker sides? Because Wycombe should be playing well against Stockport and Bradford, but they were playing out of the skin at that point. Doncaster Rovers 1-1 away draw, and then a 1-0 home defeat against Exeter for Wycombe, and that was an 83 minutes own goal. Wycombe here 63% possession, 19 shots, 8 on target, none in the net. That is just poor finishing, isn't it? Let's look at the win. Let's look at the Leyton Orient win in the cup here, just to see. Leyton Orient 0 or Wycombe 1. 51% possession, 14 shots, 4 on target, 1 in the net. Yeah, we do seem to be getting a side that can shoot, just not at the net, and when it is at the net, not always as good a finishing as what it can be. A Reading side, though, equally as in the quagmire, isn't it? I mean, they're down there in the lower regions with 1 point each, of course. Lincoln City away defeat 2-0. Huddersfield home defeat 2-0. Portsmouth away win 2-1, and Portsmouth had a huge amount of possession, just couldn't convert it. Wimbledon 2-1 home defeat, and then a Bolton 1-1 away draw. Now, is Reading starting to show this side and this capability that they can actually change things around? 36% possession against a Bolton side at home with that immensely brilliant crowd. That noise in that stadium is huge. A Bolton side that can just go up free will and shoot. 65% possession to Bolton. 21 shots. Only 4 on target though, and 1 in the net. Reading punished them for not being able to convert more of those shots into shots on target. 5 shots from 36% possession to Reading. 2 of them on target, 1 in the net. This Reading side they have some really clinical finishers, let's just put it that way. They just don't get the ball enough for me. It's going to be a very, very difficult game because I can see that Wycombe have actually still got a pretty good defence. It's just an issue with that front line. You're saying 2-0, 1-1, 0-1 and 2-3. Can Reading get the goals here, or will it be Wycombe Wanderers? I'm going to go with my final game, Wycombe Wanderers 2, Reading 0. I think that Reading will improve this. I just don't think it's going to be today. Please do like and subscribe. Give me your comments down below. It's John S. Sports Channel over for one more prediction video in League One.